What's up, Kick Squad? It's Eric. Wanted to make this video because a lot of you have been asking me how do I get more height on my kicks. Now, this goes in part with one of the videos I just made about contact. And if you haven't seen that, click the link right here or right here. I'm always bad about that. Somewhere in this area to see how to get better contact and be more consistent with your swing and all that fun stuff. So in terms of height, the first and foremost biggest reason that you're not getting enough height is you're not tall enough in your approach. All right. Now, what I mean by that is a lot of times, including myself when I first started, whenever I would come in, I would land and swing, but my chest was so low, it would prevent me from actually getting up through the ball. So one more time, and I'd swing, my chest was way down here, and my freaking leg could not get higher than my chest was down. So the lower my chest, the lower my leg could be. And it wasn't until much later, arguably very late in my high school career, that I learned the higher you keep your chest, the more your leg can come up. So if you want to practice on your own, you can, or you can just trust me because I think I got this. So keep your chest down. Of course, your leg can only come up this high. But if you keep your chest tall, your leg can come up much higher. So essentially, it allows you to get more whip on the ball and you can pop through it a lot easier. All right. Now, on top of that, in order to get a higher kick, on top of you keeping a taller chest, you do have to hit good contact, which again is that inside panel, depending on which leg you kick with. So for me as a lefty, I have to hit the inside right panel just under center, and then the inside left panel for a righty. Now, hopefully that makes sense. If you didn't get that, check the video again. I will link to it again right up here if you want to check that out. But on top of that, you do have to pay attention to your leg swing. So what I mean is, after you make contact, one thing to note is you are not supposed to flick your toe off to the side or keep it out. You want to make sure you're driving your foot and everything to your target with a flexed position. You're not opening it up, you're not lifting it as soon as you make contact and flicking it. That's where you get that slap sound, where it just doesn't go very far and it goes really high and it spins a lot. All right. So rather than you do one of those little girly soccer kicks where you kick it and you flick your toe and you pop your leg like that far, we're looking to lock our leg out and drive it through a target. So ideally, what you could do is get a line. I do all of my drills, almost all of them, on a line, and I just practice swinging through it with my foot in a flex position. So what that would look like is I'd keep my foot flexed and I swing through the line up through my target. Very simple, very easy. The important thing is, after you make contact, that's great. You can make great contact, but the problem is a lot of guys will get lazy right after and they'll flick their toe afterwards, which causes it to spray off to the right, to the left, up, down, sideways, backwards, and forth. Likewise, if they kick and then they rotate out, that causes them to either hit it off their ankle, or they shank it, or they pull a groin injury. I did that because I would always kick and then finish off like that, and it was very hard to be consistent that way too. So the main point being, whenever you land, you swing up through your target, down its line, and you finish forward. We're not doing any of this finish off to the side or the other way. You're not swinging over here. That's not where your target is. You're swinging and finishing towards your target with a tall chest. All right, dude, super easy. If you want to watch Jason Myers, he's a great guy to see as to how to do it right. Now, another trick, or two more tricks actually, as to how to keep a taller chest is focus on your shoulder blades. So whenever you're set in your ready position, pull your shoulder blades back and down and get ready. You know, don't be like a string bean with your straight legs. You want to be athletic. You know, we're athletes who kick. So you want to have an athletic stance, shoulder blades back and down, and then whenever you come in, you try to hold that position and you're not crunching your shoulders as you make contact. The taller you are, the more you can extend and whip through the ball. Likewise, A drill you can do without actually kicking live reps is to put your kicking arm, so for me it's my right arm, for you guys that are righties it's your left arm, you put it underneath the smaller your back, like so. So whenever I kick, that tension will prevent me from dipping any farther than right here. All right, so I'll stay a lot taller, a lot better, and I can make sure that I'm whipping through it as opposed to crunching down. All right, hopefully that video helps. If you haven't already, check out the ebook list in the description below. That is going to have early access to my ebook. We're also going to have a print version now. It's going to include workouts, nutrition, mindset, technique advice, pro kicker and punter contributions. It's going to be fantastic. And then of course follow me on all my social media channels, and I hope to see you guys soon. Stay amazing. What's up guys, it's Eric. Today we're going to talk about ball contact and where specifically should you hit it on the ball. But before we get into the actual video, just want to let you guys know the book should be coming out very soon. We're going to publish this. If it's not coming out the day of this video is published, it's going to be coming out the very next day, or it's already been published. So just check out the links in the description below to see that, and then follow me on my social media at Kickers of Earth, and check out my website kickersoferth.com to see all the content and other informational material that you might want to look at. So without further ado, we'll get right into the video itself. So all right, so ball contact. We'll keep this video very short and simple, but it'll be nice and sweet. So first thing, a lot of guys are asking, where do I need to hit the ball with my foot, and what part of the ball? All right, now you divide the ball into 3 sections. You have the top third, the middle third, and then the bottom third. You want to hit it in the bottom third of the football, okay? Now, I've seen guys that hit dead center on the football. That's perfectly fine as long as you're hitting it off of the kickoff tee. If you're hitting it off the kickoff tee, you're totally golden, no issue there. But a lot of guys, whether they're on a 1-inch or 2-inch, you know, they can get away with it there too, just because it's raised up and you have some more room for error if you are hitting it off of an actual tee, okay? Now, the other thing to note is if you're hitting off the ground, you don't want to hit it dead center, because if you're hitting it dead center, you're losing a lot of height. So you actually want to hit it a little bit lower than that. Not too low to where you're getting a lot of spin. So it's a happy medium between way too low on the ball and way too high, okay? So this is way too high, this is dead center. This is way too low. You're gonna get one of those high spins that just goes and goes, but doesn't actually make it far enough or have the distance. And unless you have a crazy big leg, you wanna make sure you're hitting it just under the, just at the bottom third of the football, okay? Now, the other thing to note is if I'm a left-footed kicker, I want to hit the inside panel. So we have 4 panels. We have this one, this one, and that one, okay? Now, the inside panel for me is going to be this part right here, okay? Not the outside panel, because if I'm a left-footed kicker and I come in to swing, I want to make sure I'm making contact on the inside part of the ball and driving through to the outside left panel, okay? So swinging inside panel, finishing outside panel. So my leg swing would be something like this, going straight through it, okay? Now, I don't want to be hitting way on the seam or way outside that, because ultimately, if I ever so slightly mess my ankle or something twists a little bit too much, I'll hit outside panel and the ball is going to go way off to the right, okay? Now, if I'm very disciplined in my approach and I'm hitting it in the right way like I should, this shouldn't be an issue. I need to make sure that I'm focusing on the inside panel, just inside the seam. Even the seam I don't want to hit, because this isn't a clean surface. If you're hitting it here, it's technically hitting 2 different areas, okay? Now, this is the cleanest part of the football. Same thing with punting. When we're punting, we don't want to hit the seam. We want to turn it a little bit so we can hit that flat surface, okay? So same thing here. You want to hit just under center, which is the bottom third of the football, on the inside panel, okay? For you righties, this is the opposite. The inside panel for you guys would be that left panel right here, okay? Just inside the seam. Honestly, the easiest way to do this in practice, every single field goal you have, make a spit mark. So for me, I'm gonna make a spit mark just inside the panel, and that's my target. Every single kick, I'm gonna focus on that spot right there and just drive up through that, through the outside left panel, okay? And I'm just trusting that over and over and over and over and over again I'm gonna make the spit mark every single time. Same thing on kickoffs. I'm gonna have this exact point to focus on, so whenever I'm kicking on the sticks and whenever I'm kicking off the tee, off the holder or the kickoff tee, I'm able to look at that spot and visualize that's my target and that's where I'm wanting to hit it, okay? So you trust that, swing through it, you're gonna be golden. You're not gonna get that X rotation, because oftentimes you get that X rotation when you hit out here and then it goes off to the right or the left, whatever the case. Because physically, if I hit out here, if I hit on the outside part of the ball, it has to go the way that it's hit. Same thing if you're hitting the inside panel, you don't want to hit way over here too. It's going to go right over there. So you want to hit almost dead center, but not the seam. So just inside the seam, so that you give yourself the best chance for a good foot to ball contact and a good pop. Okay. Hopefully that video helps. If it did, leave a comment below. Let me know what you want to see next and what part of this video you liked a lot. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notifications to see more updates from me. And other than that, check the links in the description. Again, the book's coming out very soon. Hopefully you guys like this video. Thank you again. See you next time.
Alright guys, I wanted to make this video in order to explain contact on a field goal. I got tons and tons and tons of questions about how do I make contact on a field goal, and this is going to explain that in a little bit more depth. So I'll make a video on the field about this, but just going back on some of my previous videos that I posted, I could explain really simply right now, just is what I mean a lot of the time. So first things first, in order to get more power and more height on the ball and more accuracy, contact is going to take at least 70 to 80% of that roll. So there's three different places that you can hit the ball, at least in my opinion. You can hit it on the dead center or dead seam, which is like up and down on the ball. You can hit the left panel or you can hit the right panel. And so what I mean by middle of the seam is that little part of the ball that conjoins both sides of the leather. Now, the left panel, if you hit that, like a lot of guys do, I did it in this video a few times, that's going to mean that it sprays off to the side that or the opposite side of your kicking leg. So if I'm a left-footed kicker and I hit the left panel, the ball is going to 9 times out of 10 spray off to the right, unless I'm Harry Houdini or some magical wizard, like Harry Potter. Then it's really not possible to hit it straight. If you're hitting it around the outside of the ball, it will not allow you to hit it straight. Now, at the same token, a lot of guys say that they want to hit the seam of the ball, like the dead center. The issue is it's not a clean contact spot. So when you hit it there, you're going to spray the ball off either or. It's the same thing on punting. Like, you don't want to hit the seam of the football because it's not a clean surface. The big thing here is it's not black and white, like you have to hit the dead center to hit the best part of the field goal. It's a little counterintuitive. You actually want to hit off to the right side of the panel if you're a lefty, and then off to the left side if you're a righty. So the panel is going to give you that smooth surface, and then if you hit that part, naturally your foot will form to the ball, and the ball will form to your foot, and it will explode off and shoot to the portion of the target that you want it to go to. So what I mean by that is if you're hitting way over here and anything is wrong in your technique, you'll immediately know that. If you hit the middle, same thing. It can cause that like X rotation where the ball has a bit of a weird flutter to it. And then if you hit the right side of the ball, if you're a lefty, not like way over here, but if you hit in between the middle and the right side of the ball, then you're going to allow yourself to hit the prime spot of the football. It's actually it's interesting how it works, but I promise you, if you were to go out on the field and kick on your own, hit that part rather than the dead center, and you're going to see a huge jump in your contact. So we'll break it down real quick. I'm going to go ahead and move this to a very slow speed and watch my foot. All right, so check out me making contact. As soon as I swing, my foot is actually a little bit to the side of the football. My laces and the part of my foot that I want to hit, which is that big bone called the navicular bone or metatarsal, either or, that's the second shoelace on your cleat. You want that to be making contact with the inside panel, not the seam, not the outside panel, but the inside panel. All right, and if you do everything right, if you just by hitting that alone, you can have a lot of other inefficiencies in your swing, but if you hit that part, the ball is going to jump off your foot, no question, like guaranteed. However, if you hit around the football, like some guys, and you have the inefficiencies that some do, that's where you really see some tough habits that you have to break. Okay, so really good contact can fix a lot of good things, but that doesn't a lot of good contact can fix a lot of bad things. But that's not to say that you should just be focusing only on contact. Like that should be a focus, but the point is to make sure your technique and form is in line so that if you hit the ball bad, whether it's your fault or not, because let's be fair, every kick is technically your responsibility to make. But if there's ever a situation where you do miss, it needs to be a circumstance that you did everything right on your end. It was just a matter of, who knows, the weather threw the ball in a whirlwind, like that one kicker who kicked a field goal and the wind just stopped it standstill, which I would throw a hissy fit if I saw that. But nonetheless, I think it's important to know that every kick you have is your responsibility to make. Okay. Now, after this one, we'll go to another kick that I had, and we'll show you what I mean by hitting the outside of the ball. So you hit it clean, you swing straight, your body's in the right position. It takes off both high and far. So that's ideal. All right. So we're going to cut to another kick that I had later in the session where I did a lot of things right. However, I did swing around it a little bit. So I don't know if you saw the flutter on the ball. It did have a little bit of an X ball to it. That's what we call. And check my toe and my foot where it is the second I make contact. It's not going to be on the right side of the ball. It'll actually be a little bit more on the left side. Yeah, tough to see, and my pausing skills aren't great, but we'll do it one more time. And you can see how my foot is actually wrapping around the ball. You can see how my toe and a lot of my foot is taking up a majority of the left side of the ball. However, everything else is great. My hips are pointed where I want them to go. My chest is tall. My core is engaged. I've got a nice lean away from the ball. I'm not too linear. I've got a good wide plant. Like a lot of good things are working in my favor. And I did happen to point my toe as I made contact, or not even point my toe, but my toe wrapped around the football, almost as if I was trying to hit a upper 90 shot in soccer. But again, my technique was there, so that even though that I did the contact wrong and I did that part not as successfully as I normally would, because of the fact that everything else was there, I still made the kick. It was a X ball, like a weird flutter, dinged off the upright. These are pointed around. So this is an extra 5 yards. I think this is a 40-yarder, so this is a 45-yarder. But yeah, definitely would make it on standard post because it was substantially farther away. So this is technically, again, a 45. But yeah, like I was saying, if you do everything right, but just so happen to catch the outside of the ball, you can get away with it because of the fact that everything else is there. So hopefully this video helped you guys. I really love making this stuff. But again, if you have any questions or comments, what I could make another video on or something, let me know. I would be happy to do that. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It does help me out tremendously. I'm super excited to continue posting this type of content. But if you guys aren't already, please check out the ebook that's going to come out later this year. I've got some really awesome stuff that's coming in that direction. Matt Amendola and Nick Novak are some contributors. We've got Ali Mortada and quite a few others. I don't want to spoil the whole list, but some NFL veterans have been there for kicking for 10 plus years, and some Australian punters. Like, we've got a wide variety of content and professional kickers that have contributed. But it's not just that. It's like mindset stuff, techniques, workouts, literally everything. This could be your one-stop shop for kickers and punters. It is going to change the game. I'm super excited to get it out to you guys, and I would love it if you could spread the word about it. But other than that, please check out the links in the description. That helps me out too, just to see if anything on there fits your criteria. And then, of course, please like and comment on this video and subscribe if you're not already. Again, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next time.
I wanted to make a video covering how to get more height on your field goals and just give you an idea of how to do it from the ground up, what to do with your body, where to hit it on your foot, even drills you can do. Stay tuned, we'll find out, and we'll break it down together. So there's a lot of things that actually come into getting more height on your kicks, and that could be your body posture, getting good contact on the football, where you're swinging your leg. It all does play a part in getting more height on the kick. First thing we're going to talk about is your body posture. Whenever you come in to kick the ball, you do not want to be chest down, crunching after contact or even at contact. We've touched on this on previous videos, but let's say you come in and you swing and your chest is way down here. Physically, you can't raise your leg higher than your chest. If this is as high as I can get my leg, it's because my chest is down on the kick. So from the side, same thing. It's very difficult to get a lot of height whenever you're leaning over the football or you're leaning over and crunching down. So instead, if you go from here to here, you get a lot more range of motion, and you can, again, get more height and pop on the ball because your leg is able to swing freely throughout the kick. Now, a good way to help that and make sure that you're keeping a tall chest is a very simple drill. So what you can do is, whenever you're kicking, instead of just trying to think, stay tall, it's to put your hand, your side arm behind your back. You'd have your right arm behind your back like this. What it would do is it would prevent you from leaning over too much as you make contact. So it's just a good way to keep your body tall. Before you start really kicking in the day, that's a good way to warm up. So the next point is to think about how important your arms are on the kick. I've touched on this in other videos, talking about how important your arms are during the kick, where if you think of a sprinter, whenever they're running, they use their arms. It's aggressive movements. And again, they always say if you want to run faster, you typically will pump your arms faster. So the same thing goes with kicking, where if you do drop your arms down or you bring your arms back, a lot of things can go wrong. Looking at it from a lefty's perspective, I kick with my left foot. If I were to come in and swing where my left arm, and for you righties, your right arm goes behind your back, at contact, you'll come here, you see that shoulder and that arm going up, and your chest and your shoulder, your body posture naturally curves down like this. That's kind of leading to you being more into the ground and you're hitting a low ball. Instead of you having an arm behind you like this, we sort of tweak it. That'll help keep yourself taller, which is the goal. You want to have a nice neutral body posture at contact, just like Jason Myers. He's a fantastic example. Keep your arm as close to your side as possible, like that. You could even put your hand in your pocket when you're warming up and kicking. There's a few ways to really do some drills to help you think, okay, I gotta stay tall. Now next, on the same point of keeping your arms involved in the kick, is thinking about where they're at. If you're down here with your arm and your arm throws itself down like this, you're probably gonna lose a lot of momentum because you're, again, throwing your body down and you're telling your chest, hey, we don't need to worry too much. Let's just have a party and not really worry about the kick too much. So let's try to keep a taller arm consistently, because if you throw your arm over, you're gonna drop that shoulder down, and that's where you scoop under the ball and it's not a clean contact. A perfect world is chest height, out and across, trying not to break past your head level. I'm a big fan of right here. This is fine for me, right at like eye level. My arms here, I need to keep my body tall too. This is totally fine. Chest height, even eye height or the top of the head, but try not to break past this. And definitely don't go below chest height. This is your golden zone if I would recommend anything for you. Okay, the next thing that we're gonna do to help you get more height is to focus on swinging through and up on the ball instead of trying to swing up immediately. I know some guys will preach swing up through the ball, swing up through the ball. And by all means, if it works for you, that's totally fine. I'm gonna show you real quick why I don't prefer that, primarily because it'll cause your body to drop right as you make contact. Let's say we come in and we immediately think swing up. This little movement right here where your hips pop back is gonna cause your hips to disengage, and now your core isn't engaged either, and that's gonna lead to everything sort of collapsing just a little bit, and that's no bueno. So instead of thinking swing up, let's swing out and then up. A plane taking off, how it takes off around 45 degrees, that's a good trajectory. Primarily thinking swinging out, let's go out, then up, and then let your body take you downfield naturally as it should. Okay, now on the conversation of using your hips on the kick, this is also gonna help you get more height because timing is really crucial, especially when something as precise as kicking is happening. What I mean by timing is, let's say we're coming in and we land, we're landing, but we haven't really made contact yet. We make contact right here. See where my chest is in relation to the ball? It's completely over it. It's almost all the weight is on my toe. Not good. This is gonna lead to one of those like low drives, and really you're not getting much height on that one, unless you're just a freak athlete, which truthfully, I've seen a lot of kickers and I don't think I've ever seen anyone really make this work. Because all of your body weight, if not 80% or more, is past the ball. Okay, so this is no good, right? So we need to at least be even with the ball, like I said earlier, or we could even get a little bit behind the ball. That's totally fine too. Think of it like a power clean. You know, when you're loading up and you pop right here, that's a good position to have because you're loaded in your stance and you're grounded into the ground with your positioning. So what I mean is, let's say you come in, your plant foot comes in, you're loading up the outside of your foot. So right here on the outside of your foot is where you're making contact with the ground on your plant. You're really loading up the outside and more of a loaded position. Instead of everything all flat into the ground, we're really gearing up. It's athletic, man. You gotta be ready to strike, right? So we come in, boom. This is ideal where you've got a little bit of weight back and to the side, just a little bit, probably 60% on the outside, 40% on the inside. And again, really loaded up. See my knee is nice and athletic. It's not like straight. It's again, bent, a little bit of an athletic bend to it. So that's good. I'm also not here. My hips are engaged. My core is tight. Everything is pulled in a little bit, which is gonna help with timing too. Because let's say, again, same situation, I come in, I have this crazy backswing. Here I am again over the ball, right? So the backswing is gonna be a really important thing to focus on here too, where instead we come in, we keep our hips engaged the whole time. We go load up, hips engaged, low backswing, nice and athletic and in my zone. When I mean in my zone, I mean it's natural and comfortable for me to do this movement right here, where I come back. This is about as comfortable as I would like to be. Anything past that, I'm really getting out of my zone. So loaded hips, backswing, right here, I will smash that football just because you're staying within your compartmentalized zone and you're staying compact, which is really, really important in kicking. So again, hips loaded, preventing you from having this massive backswing, hips loaded, loading on the outside of that foot, locking in at contact. Now the next thing is we're trying to make sure we're having contact in the right part of the football, right? For me, the center of the football as a lefty over to the side is target zone. That's where I am aiming personally. For you guys as a righty, you're aiming right here on the inside panel, right there just on the inside, because if we aim over here as a righty and you just clip it, ball's gonna go, you know, right. It has to, physically. So again, as a righty, inside panel, just below center, probably the bottom third of the football if we divide it into thirds. Right there's your sweet zone, okay? Hopefully that helps. We're gonna move into the next section right now. So we're actually gonna cover one more thing before we get into the next section, covering more like of a mental game and drill work that you can do. And that's where in the foot you wanna hit the ball. So people, whenever they're kicking, they, for some reason, think that they need to hit it towards the bottom portion of their foot, and there's not a lot of power there. Let's focus on hitting that second shoelace, which is that big bone, the navicular bone. that's where you're gonna see the most amount of power and that contact. So that's something you can do on your drill work in the morning or before you start kicking. Just take your shoe off, kick with your sock or your barefoot. It sounds a little weird, but trust me, and you're focusing on hitting it on the big part of your foot. So it's pretty incredible how much solid contact and hitting your A+ ball will do to your height and your distance. And for those of you guys that are still watching this video, please subscribe. I'll be doing some cool stuff for all of my subscribers that are supporting the channel and doing what they can to spread the word out. Trying to make this a fun little thing. So please be sure to subscribe, and I'll be happy to do some giveaways in the future. All right, so one of the more important things, apart from having the right technique, doing the drill work and everything, is the mindset behind getting a good kick every single time and getting height on your field goals. What I mean by that is, let's say you're walking back, you're taking your steps over, you're doing what you normally do. Whenever you get back from your 2 or 3 steps, make sure to look up at your target, even go a little bit higher than you normally would, and just paint a little X or a dot or something that's very off into the distance and make that your target. So let's say there's an entire word, we'll call it victory, is the word that you're seeing behind the uprights. Instead of aiming for the whole word, pick something in the middle, in between the uprights, very specific. We'll call it the T in victory. But instead of just the T, let's focus on the intersection between the top part of the T and the bottom part. So that little intersection right there, envision it hitting that, right? So we took it from trying not to miss the uprights, because if you aim for the uprights, you will miss or make in between the uprights. Now, if you aim for not only victory, but the T, not even the T, but the dot and the intersection between the T, top of the T and the bottom, you will now make or miss between that and around that. So now you've taken it from, an 18 to 20 foot target now into a very small target. We'll call it a foot. That's a very important thing to remember, is not only seeing it, but believing it happening. While you may say what you want, 90% of kicking is mental. So if you can master that and really envision the kick going to where you want it to go and doing what you want it to do, hitting it with pure confidence and seeing that over and over and over and over and over again, you're gonna have a very successful career, very successful time, no matter what level you're at, even outside of football. I think mentality is a big thing. So try that out, in part with everything that we've talked about today. We're gonna cover one other thing, so stick around for that. So one of my absolute favorite drills was kicking the ball over the uprights, or at least trying to sideline to sideline. So this drill is probably my most favorite drill for many reasons. I'm back doing my steps and what have you. I've now got a visual line that I can swing on. Now I got something that I can physically swing towards, which is now the uprights. And now I've got something to physically swing over, which is the top of the uprights. In a matter of seconds, we can take a drill that will help you swing on your line, which is gonna help you with power and accuracy, gonna help you keep your power strong, because we wanna hit it over the uprights. And it's also gonna help with, again, accuracy over a long distance, because let's say you do hit it over the uprights and you keep it on that line the whole way. That's perfect. Let's say you don't even go try to hit it over the upright. Let's say you just go sideline and sideline. The line drill in general is a great drill to do. But in terms of getting height, get on the sideline, try to hit the ball over the uprights, starting from the exact sideline. And if your field allows you to go farther back, then do that. Or if you're already hitting it over from the sideline, scoot in. I think the cool thing is with drills like that is you can start back pretty far, or the opposite, you can start really close. And if you get the ball up quick, you could just scoot back. Or if you can hit the ball pretty high from a good distance, like the sideline, for example, you can then scoot up. And if you're still hitting it over the upright from that close, now we know we've got power from back here, and we've got good lift from very close to the upright. So I think this drill is so fun because there's so many ways that you can use it, whether you want to go for quick lift or a little bit of both, where you do way back here, like the soccer area, or you can, have a happy medium where you're trying to get quick lift and hit it over the upright, or even the other upright. I know these are, it's relatively tough for a lot of people, myself included. It can be challenging, but I think the goal of a drill isn't to be perfect at it, it's to get better. So get on a line, try to swing your leg down it. It's gonna help with power, accuracy, confidence, and just overall swagger, because you're aiming for a very finite object like the upright. And this one, for example, has a flag at the top, you better believe I'm going to try to hit the very top of the flag, or picture something very specific to aim for, not just the upright, but specifically something very small within that. So that's all I got, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave it below. If you have any video ideas, again, leave that below. But again, subscribe if you haven't already. I'll be doing some really cool stuff with my subscribers. So thanks again for watching. It's Eric. I wanted to make this video to help you guys understand like how to get better contact on your field goals, kickoffs, and punts. I think a lot of times, including myself, we get into a mode of overthinking a lot of things when in reality it's just best to get back to the basics. So that's what this video is going to provide, just like a very simple and extremely easy to understand explanation of what it is to have clean contact. So whenever I was in like my first or second year of college, I always battled with like that X ball. Whenever you kick and it like comes off your foot, it has that weird rotation to it. I really couldn't figure out what the heck was going on and like why it was doing that. And it really took some explaining from my kicking coach to really break things down. And you know, I just eventually it just clicked one day. You know, you talk to enough people and then you just analyze your own kicks enough and it just kind of makes sense. So the cut and dry version of it is it essentially means two things. Either your toe comes up whenever you kick, or your foot hits around the football, kind of like around the middle seam, around the outside panel of it. So those two things are a huge, massive reason as to why you don't get that clean rotation. So one thing that I did relentlessly when I was kicking field goals, once I figured out what it meant to have clean contact, is I would focus on locking my foot out before practice. Like I'd be in my dorm room just sitting on the floor just practicing like flexing out my calf or pointing my toe. You know, personally I like flexing the calf. It just makes it seem a little bit more simple. You're not thinking about the ankle or the foot so much as you are just thinking about flexing your calf out, and naturally it will point the way that you want it to. So been sitting in my dorm room doing that. That was one thing. But then whenever I actually got on the field, it was very simple. What I would do is I would do my no steps without a ball, you know, just practice on flexing the calf, and just, that's all I do. Just flex the calf, maybe 10 reps, sets or something. And then I'd go to one step where I'd come in and I'd make sure I'm flexing the calf every single time. And then same thing for full approach. So by the time I actually started kicking, I'd already done maybe 50 to 75 reps without a ball, just making sure I'm locking that ankle out. Because I promise you, the reason why the ball isn't coming off your foot is because it's hitting the toe before the big part of your bone. So that toe is making contact before the football, and then you're flicking your toe and it's opening up and then the ball is doing a weird spin. So I promise you, if you come in with a locked out calf and you hit it on the inside panel of the ball, you are going to make the cleanest contact that you could possibly do. Now, even if you have a flexed calf and you end up flicking that foot like most soccer guys do, where they kick, flex calf is great, but they sort of bend that ankle, that will also cause it. So you have to really be disciplined about making sure whenever you swing, you have that ballerina toe for the first yard of your swing. So this is contact, and then this is the first yard. So from here to here, your swing should look the exact same, and you're swinging down your line. So another thing to think about is, let's say this is 12 o'clock. For me, this is 1 o'clock. This is 11 o'clock. So whenever I swing, flex calf, I swing 11 o'clock and finish down the middle. Or you could think swing inside panel to the outside panel. So you swing inside, you finish to the outside, and then you finish your body down the middle of your target. So something like that. Whatever the terminology is, you could think swing inside out, 11 o'clock, swing, you know, inside, finish down the middle, whatever the terminology is for you. Find something that works, but I promise you, if you take the time to make sure your calf is flexed out, you're gonna be in great shape, because you're gonna get clean contact. You're also activating more muscles in your legs, and you can make sure that you're maximizing your whip All right, so try it out. Let me know what you think, and leave a comment below to let me know how it actually helped you out. But if you guys did like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me out tremendously. And then another thing to note, if you want more resources, you can check out kickersoferearth.com. But the one that I'm most looking forward to getting out and going is the ebook and the actual print version of the book. It's called The Art of Kicking. Super excited. And if you are on the email list, you get an early access to that book 72 hours in advance from everybody else. So please, 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 the links are in the description. Please sign up. They'll be out. The book should be coming out really anytime. But I'll be posting updates on the email list as well as social media. So please follow me there as well, at Kickers of Earth. But until next time, whoopah, words. But until next time, please follow me, like, comment your favorite part, and subscribe. I know what you're thinking. First of all, yes, that is tape on my foot, okay? Big deal. I don't have the highest quality shoes. I've used these for 5 years, whatever, sue me. But no, I've had these for a long time. I just put duct tape on them because, low budget, let's go. But so in terms of contact, that was something that I dealt with a lot when I was younger. Now, it really came down to, like, it used to be a really complicated thing, but the more I learned about it, the more simple it became. And it became so simple, it was like, why the heck didn't I learn this a lot earlier? It's almost like this foreign thing that all these coaches are always up in the air about as far as like what they're trying to teach you. And a lot of times the coaches don't really know what they're talking about. So hopefully this video helps you a little bit in terms of like contact. So before we get into like all the tiny details, we kind of got to talk about where you got to hit on your foot. Now, there's this big bone right on your second shoelace called the metatarsal or like navicular bone. Typically, you hit that and you got these nice juicy kicks every time, given that you hit it in the right part of the ball. Now, the part of the ball that you hit it in, let's take the middle seam. You want to go, if you divide it into 3 parts, the ball, you have 1, 2, 3. So the bottom third of the ball, just under center, is where you want to hit it. So I'm a lefty, so I need to aim not on the seam, because the seam is going to give you that weird like rotation most of the time, or it doesn't feel as clean as it normally would, as if you hit it just inside, just on the inside panel, we'll call it inside panel of the football. So I'll hit it on the right panel. For you righties, you guys will hit it over yonder, just under center, again on the left side of the ball. All right, so oftentimes if you're kicking on your own, you can get a spit mark, just make a little dot. That way you know you need to hit inside panel just under center and you're good to go. So you match that with the big part of your bone, boop, you're good. Now, next part is in terms of like how to hit it with your foot. So oftentimes coaches will teach something along the lines of go all groin, I guess they call it wedge kicking. Now, the issue here is I used to do this, put so much stress on your groin where you're gonna have injuries. Like you might have good height during the time that you're doing it, but then a few months down the road, you'll notice you'll start to have a lot more injuries in your leg. You have to stretch out a lot more. You might even have to get surgery. It gets very expensive and painful. The whole point of this channel is to prevent you from injury and also help you learn on your own so you can become the best kicker that you can be. Now, the opposite of all groin is all quad. So soccer guys do this a lot, where they come in, swing all quad, freaking Cristiano Ronaldo style, trying to grip it and rip it, and they're all here, and that's going to cause you to hook around the ball. Does not equal a good kick. All right, so the happy medium of what we're looking for is somewhere between all groin and all quad. So right there. All right, in between all groin and all quad, all groin and all quad is what we're looking for. All right, so I'll back this up a little bit just so you guys can see just one more time. So again, inside panel for me, it's gonna be like that, right there. That's perfect. And the other thing is making sure our hips and our shoulders aren't pointing in to our ball. because it's going to limit a lot of our power. Because imagine if I kick and I'm still here, my leg goes up but my body stays back. Okay, likewise, if we're too forward or too square, I'm too early going to wrap around it. So if I swing, immediately my hips go off to the side. So the perfect happy medium again between all ball and all target is in between right here. So whenever we make contact, we want to face in between the ball and the target, right in the middle, and then we let our body take us through to our target. All right, so you swing more. Let's say if you have a clock, you have 12 o'clock, for me it's 1 and then 11 o'clock. I would swing 11 o'clock. So I swing, whoop, and then I finish down the middle. Make sense? Cool. I hope I explained it right. Whatever. But if I didn't, let me know in the comments that I'm not a good teacher. Who knows? But other than that, apart from the contact spot and where to hit it on your foot, you also need to make sure that you are hitting it and you're extending through. Now, one thing that I was guilty of when I was first getting into like the more technical side of kicking is I would really put an emphasis on my follow through. So I would come freaking way up, and the issue with that is if you check my hips, sometimes they would crunch down. I mean, you get athletic enough like Jason Myers and he can just stay super tall, but most of us aren't Jason Myers. So rather than trying to swing so high up anymore, I'm just focused on getting forward with my swing and keeping it at hip height. You keep your swing at hip height, you're golden. I'm not a big fan of this though, where you punch it, because I feel like you are limiting up quite a bit of power. So if you swing a golf club, you don't just hit a driver and then chop at it. I mean, you typically get all the way through it. So you're not like trying to overextend at the same time where you're like really trying to focus on the after swing. So same thing here is if I find a happy medium between the jab and then like an overextension, it's going to be right at hip height. And I feel powerful and controlled and in my swing from that position. So hopefully that helped, guys. If it did, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you liked about this video and what you want to see next. And in the meantime, stay safe. But before you go, I have one last thing I wanted to ask you. So as you may or may not know, the ebook is coming out later this year, and it's actually going to be turned into a print version as well. So not only can you get a downloadable version that you can send to your friends and family members through like email and whatever, it's also going to be a print version that we are working on right now. So if you want to get the PDF file or the ebook version early, exactly 3 days earlier than everyone else, there is a link in the description to sign up for that. You get 72 hours early access to that, and I might be doing some giveaways, so spread the word and follow me on the socials. But again,